What is happening, you guys, and welcome to another episode of the Finn's Tailgate. I am your host, El Capitan, and tonight on the tailgate party that seems to continue again and again and again, and you'll find it to continue because it's the party that never stops. There's some rumors. They be a stirring. If you guys heard me yesterday, I alluded to it. I want to say towards the end of the video about a little bit of Mike Gesicki trade coming potentially. There's been teams that have acquired. We'll go into that a little bit. But before we do, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button on your way in. Help the channel, everybody. Tonk 7 TMI Tuesdays live at 9. Color commentary co-hosting on there. You guys can catch them tomorrow. Right after that, you got open mic with Mike on the mic. Thursday nights, you got late night color commentary. Every other night of the week, you can catch El Capitan doing this thing. Me, myself, and I in the third person. Cash App, Venmo, help support the channel. Fanatics is in the link in the description. Help support the channel by buying your gear from official partnered Fanatics. Also, we have our TFTG gear. If you're feeling, like you're tailgating, partying, and got to get out there and represent, please do and grab some of our stuff. The hats are on sale. And then also, guys, Super Chat is live. So get at us, support the show, help us grow. And I have color in the back. I'm going to bring color out here in just a second, but I'll open it up with this. And the recent talk is Arizona wanting Mike Gesicki. But when I was talking yesterday and alluding to what I was hearing, it was supposed to be a little bit more hush-hush because the Niners, I want to say it was Albert Breer that said it today or somebody else, but they said the deal could take 2 first-round picks to get Deebo Samuel. Now, I think that that's a little hefty, but it's going to take more than a first-rounder. Not that the Jets aren't willing to give that up, but they're willing to give up the 10th pick, not the 4th pick, and I don't blame them. And when you're buying and selling and this, that, and the third, you might want to sell more. Something to consider, though, Dolphins fans, is where is the value in this draft? Everybody inside the top 10 would rather trade back. So San Francisco being probably no different than anybody else. A pick in the 20s and picks later in the draft or picks next year are almost better served, which to me kind of goes on the head of what I was hearing about Mike Gesicki, and that Green Bay is a serious target for Mike Gesicki. Green Bay has 2 first-round picks. I think, hold on, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. They have pick number 22 that they got from the Raiders, obviously, and they have pick number 28. I would imagine this to be the 28th pick if they can get it. Now, I don't think Mike Gesicki is a clear trade for the first pick, but maybe there's a package of picks this year and or next year. Throw a third rounder in there, something to that effect to give them Mike Gesicki plus a little bit of capital, and they see themselves with a 28th pick. Only to then take that 28th pick and give it to the Niners for Deebo Samuel, which is a move that the Niners don't want to give Deebo to Green Bay. That would be stupid. And Green Bay, and this is why I was told to be hush-hush about it, wouldn't be okay with giving their system. Again, that's why you're hush-hushed. So, something to consider, Dolphins fans, something to think about. There's reason to always ponder around this time. And I'm going to bring color on. And color, we do have articles and everything like that. And so I'll get to that as well. But color, I know you haven't been hearing some of the stuff till recently. What's going on?
Not much, man. How about yourself?
Yes, fanatical. There is this Waller to Green Bay thing. I heard that, but we shall see. What's going on, Batman? What's happening? Fin Fans panel. What's happening? Why does Arizona want Mike G? They have. I agree. That's why I didn't understand the Arizona talk, and that's I'm only recently hearing Arizona. To me, it was Green Bay that I heard, and that's I was being a little more hush hush, but everyone's already come out and saying it, so I might as well go ahead and tell you what I know. Again, guys, what's up? Alexander in here already. Let's go Mets. He's getting you a color. I can see it. Ali, what's good? Most. Everybody hit the like button. Man?
Are you absolutely kidding me right now?
Look, and he's got you in there. 3-2 color.
5
George.
Try 5-2.
Oh, wow. It's changed. Oh, I'm not in that embarrassing tank top. Watch out, dog. Don't let the good looks fool you, Bill.
Hey, all I got to say is if the Mets
action.
Can score 5 runs in the ninth, so the Cardinals can score 4.
Mike, what's up? Mike C. John. Fin Fan Terry. Nikolai. Fins up. 74. Joe. Everybody, thanks for being here. John. Fanatical, my guy. I follow if you can burp. All right. I follow if you can burp. Watching from Twitch. Enjoy the show. Everybody, make sure you're hitting the like button. Jamie, what's up? Aqua, my guy. So, when we think about Mike Gesicki in this offense, he's constantly being the afterthought. And schematically, how they use the tight end, it never made sense to keep Mike Gesicki anyhow. They're more adept to keeping another fullback or more guys like, Smythe or Hunter Long with the upside that we can see out of him. What's happening, Adam, all the way from Michigan? Word up. Thanks for representing. Hit that like button, Adam. There's it never made sense in scheme. Now, if Mike Gesicki's a 1-year rental with this franchise tag, then all right, cool. But I don't think even there's a plan to have him be on this football team. You know what I'm saying? Color, what do you think? Like,
I've thought that for a while now. I mean
why wouldn't it? It's just schematically in this offense where you're asking your tight ends to block a lot.
Other than I've said from the very beginning months ago that it really depended on whether we roll with Tua or not. I think Tua is the only one that can really benefit from the extra skill set that Gesicki provides as a receiver, and we all know that he doesn't provide any extra skill set when it comes to blocking. So, if most people want to argue all day about whether that matters or not, then that just indicates that plenty in the league see him as a top commodity. So, again, that catch radius is going to help.
Out of a pro-style offense where you're going to put him, in the slot every time, he's a matchup nightmare. And
right, because you're either going to be a crutch for somebody like Kyler or Derek Carr, or you're going to be a luxury for somebody like Aaron Rodgers.
Well, in the case of the Packers, they need somebody. They don't have answers as far as who's catching the football.
Well, between Waller and Gesicki, Aaron Rodgers could use either, is what I'm saying. But when it comes to Gesicki, it's like a luxury with the catch radius. I mean, sure, Waller's got a catch radius too, but
I heard them trying to get Waller was earlier on. That's long over. So that's an older rumor before even Adams was traded, and that's what ended up happening was Adams got traded. It was the other way around in that rumor. Now it's resurfacing with the talks of this, but I think it makes sense. And I also think but when they lose Debo and they mortgaged a lot of their future to get the quarterback that they got, they have to find out answers with Trey Lance over there. And a young quarterback's best friend is a tight end that you can dump off to, which is why I don't see him moving off from Kittle. But they have Ayuk. He can do some things. They go strong out of the run game. They're not going to be in like full on give everything up, but they know they got to build for the future. They got to right their cap situation, and they got to pay Bosa. You're going to see. I think the Niners probably covet their pick more than anyone knows. Their pick next year, again, for the draft coming up next year, a lot more answers. Everybody inside the 10 wants out. They all want to trade back. And everyone's hoping some of these teams want to trade up to get a quarterback. And I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting first round for teams like the Jets, Green Bay, these teams with multiple first round picks. Everyone's following the Chris Greer method. Are some of these teams going to try to trade out and do, get something next year? Probably. Anyone willing to trade their first rounder back and give them their first next year or picks next year? There's going to be teams that are going to do that. Yeah. So what would, for you, Color, Gesicki and a third rounder going to Green Bay for Green Bay's first rounder, packaging that first rounder, and I don't know, whatever else it probably takes, I would say give them the rest of this year's draft for freaking Deebo Samuel, and let's just go to the, no more rookie mini camp this year, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we've got such a stacked tight end room. I mean, sure, so are our wide receivers, but in other words, you got to look at it like if we're adding extra to either room, which one's going to help us which one's going to benefit more? It's always going to be a guy like Deebo Samuel. I mean, let's face it.
Late night alum. Green Bay has
we use their tight end spot in fantasy for a punt. So,
Green Bay alum asks if or Green Bay or late night alum says 28th, talking about Green Bay. Yeah, they're 28th in the draft, and they're also 22nd. So something to also take into account. They do have 2 first rounders. So they get rid of one of their first rounders for a playmaker weapon. They can do what they usually do and go probably defense, and if you're in
offensive lineman out there that's worth Gesicki.
if you're in, no, I don't think that. I don't think they're looking for offensive linemen.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, when it comes down to it, like, what are you going to do? Sit on a first round for what?
There's,
if we got a first round from Green Bay for Gesicki, what are we going to do with it?
They're not getting that first rounder to do anything.
I guess maybe, I don't know.
They're not looking to do anything with it other than get a player with it.
Flip it.
And we know what player it is. It's Deebo.
Especially Green Bay. It's not like it's going to be the highest pick in the world. Well, this year it ain't anyway.
So maybe the Dolphins keep San Francisco's pick, give them their pick because they're assuming we're going to be picking in the 20s, and then give also the Green Bay pick, which would be 28th, being 2 lower first round picks for Deebo Samuel. I think that trade happens instantly. And
right.
You're done with it. You're done with it. That trade happens instantly because that's what Albert Breer reported, that the Deebo trade could potentially cost 2 first round picks. Now, would Green Bay give up both first rounders for Deebo? Maybe, but I don't think San Fran would do that, even if they got both first rounders. And again, this draft is not one to, have multiple picks in.
Right.
I mean, it's inconclusive data because of all that.
I think you're every bit as likely to find a gem in the later rounds as the first rounds in this draft, no doubt. Possibly even more of a chance.
Jordan says, if Gesicki's traded, it tells me Greer thinks or knows Gesicki was the one that dissed Tua to the newspaper. That might be so. I don't think so, though.
Well, I've always contended that Gesicki is the ultimate poison in the locker room. even with the whole Flores incident. I think every bit of it was exacerbated by Mike Gesicki. He's
What,
the one,
Batman? I've
he's one of
heard
the ones that like let us know about the game plan and stuff like that. It's like, why do you say stuff like that? Even if all that's true, you don't throw your whole team and your coaching staff under the bus, for whatever reason by saying that stuff publicly. You know what I mean? Maybe you do. All I'm saying is a person that does is doing it with a malicious intent.
So Batman says, shout out Batman, Miami Sports Fanatics show. Guys, make sure you're going over there and checking the guys out. Like, subscribe. The trade involves Wilkins and Byron as of today for Debo. I've heard this as well. I don't know. To me, Wilkins alone, you could, in the right market at the right way, you could get what you want in trade value for Debo.
Sorry, Chris, but Jay's reiterating my thought. Yeah, it's nothing I've said a couple times already, but I haven't really harped on. But yeah, I really believe that when it comes to the offense not getting on board with Flores's vision, it stems with Gesicki, in my opinion. For some reason, there's been indication of that with the things he's said publicly and whatever else, that I absolutely believe that he's the poison in the locker room.
Gesicki, as a weapon, a tall, wide receiver, trying to mismatch him by calling him a tight end, running a 4.5, 4.6, whatever he ran.
Cryptic post about, we're going to be passing the ball 40 times this year. I mean, if I still went by that and trying to figure that out, if they trade him, then Tua might just be next.
I don't know about that, but
I don't either. But I'm just saying, like, what's he talking about? Like, it's like, just shut up and play football. I'm like, complains after every drop football to the refs, drops balls that are clean right in his hands. I don't care if Tua is throwing into triple coverage or not. When the ball's in your hands and nobody else's.
First of all, you're in a potential contract extension year. You are they got an extension. It wasn't the one he wanted. He catches some of those balls and doesn't drop a few of those touchdowns.
Triple coverage or not, if your hands are the only one that touched the ball and they're clean in your hands, which I give Tua every bit of credit for the throw. You know what I mean?
To me, the Wilkins
throwing into triple coverage, but it is what it is. The
Wilkins and Byron trade. I understand the sense with Wilkins because you get Debo on this team, you almost price yourself out from an extension for Wilkins anyhow. But you lose both those players and your defense takes a mega hit. I think Chris Greer would do everything in his power to not make that happen. I think he would try to go Byron and Gesicki before Wilkins and Byron, because now you're filling in. It's just, the numbers to dollars to cents don't make sense as far as the team structuring and being, as effective as possible and balanced. But never say never. It is what I have heard as well. I just think it sounds a little bit more savvy of a move where Chris Greer is going to come out the Chris Greer way by getting rid of Mike Gesicki, who's on a contract, who wants an extension at that, but will play no matter what. Good soldier, he's going to play. And he goes out there to Green Bay and balls out. They'll love him. They'll use him for a year and whatever. That's on them. If we could somehow get a first rounder or some package of picks, that might be what's needed to make this happen for Deebo Samuel. And I would rather trade in an open trade market Christian Wilkins, because I think you can get a first rounder and change and potentially package that up, and that would be almost close to same cost Deebo Samuel. That's what I believe. And just because of how defensive tackles get paid sometimes, and Christian Wilkins will probably get paid big money on the open market. That's how I feel, anyhow. So have you heard any of there's been, who was it? Daniel Jeremiah was on the Rich Eisen show, and it's pretty much a done deal. Now, John Lynch he did his press interview. I'll go ahead and play that for you guys real quick about the clip of when he was talking about Debo, but essentially he says nothing. He says nothing, gives the canned answer. It's we would love to have him here, but I don't want to talk for Debo, yada, yada, yada. But let's see if we can dissect it in any which way.
And, a little perspective that, I'm not going to talk about that much today because I don't think that's productive. I don't want to speak on behalf of Debo and his team. And I think it's non-productive for us to be talking about things. I've always thought, having been on the other side, and I've shared this with you guys, there's a sanctity to those conversations remaining private, and that's always how we've operated, and we'll continue to do so in this situation. So, as we move forward, I'm sure you have questions. Just understand, please, that just not going to go there because I don't think it's. I always have to ask myself in this job, what's in the best interest of our organization. I don't think it's the best interest of our organization or anyone to be speaking on that.
So pretty much the longest winded answer of no comment. He wasn't gonna say much. I had hoped, and a lot of people had hoped. That's why there was a lot of people predicting that we would know things about Debo, or Debo would be traded today. But to me, and I'm going to play Daniel Jeremiah on Rich Eisen, and then I'm going to play the Pat McAfee show where he had Rap Sheet on there. And also they talked about the club thing that Debo Samuel wasn't saying no to San Francisco. He was saying no to bottle service, and the club owner had waned in on this situation and clarified and gave a winning endorsement that Debo Samuel is going to stay in San Francisco,
and street defecation.
Yeah. And I know, right? So I'll go ahead and play the Rich Eisen one first. So guys, make sure you're hitting the like button, please. All righty. Boom. Shaka. My laka. Raka.
Surrounding Debo right now, and whether you think that he's available, that we might have an Aaron Rodgers I want out moment, but it involves an actual player getting out. What do you think of that, Daniel? What are you hearing?
Look, the people I've talked to this morning think there's a real good chance that he does get traded. So if you asked me 2 days ago, I would have said no. And I mean, look, I'll leave the information stuff up to Ian, but I'm just talking to a million people right now because it's that time of year where my phone doesn't stop. And it changed over the last 2 days from I don't think the 49ers would ever do it to I think there's a good chance they trade him.
Wow.
I mean, changed. We've been hearing this forever. Fielding offers. They haven't extended him
for 363 days out of the year.
What? Oh, nobody calls him until this time of the year.
363 days out of the year.
Daniel Jeremiah I'm pretty sure his phone's ringing off the hook 99.9% of the time. It's just both phones are ringing at this time of the year.
Oh, right. He's got
yeah, exactly.
Again, I know that the information is left up to other people, but I'm asking you because you're honestly, you get people texting you. What do you think? What are you hearing? What are you hearing? And so the conversation, the general sense of people that you're, chopping it up.
Like, I'm hearing my phone ring a lot.
I'm hearing what you're hearing that El Capitan on the Finns tailgate told me last night. That's what he's saying. Right?
That's where Florio gets all his information.
I'm telling you, every time I watch Florio, like 2 days after we chime in about something, he says, he must know I'm official with this jacket. That's what it is. Florio, hit me up in the super chat.
He definitely can respect the purple jacket, dude.
Got to, bro. Type. Got to. This jacket demands respect. Shout out also, guys, to Same Old Dolphins show. on Dolphins Talk. Josh and Aaron had me on earlier tonight. It was a great show. Guys, make sure you go over to Dolphins Talk, hit the like on the video, put a comment in there, TFTG, let them know we came by and represented and show the Dolphins Talk guys and same old Dolphins show on Dolphins Talk some love from El Capitan, Finn's Tailgate style. We'll go there and, show up with no beer, drink all their beer and leave real quick. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get on.
I mean, why would the Niners do such a thing, do you think? I mean, what is going on in your estimation?
I don't know. I don't know what happened with that relationship. I've yet to hear anything that makes any sense,
Well, look, and Daniel Jeremiah must be just playing coy because it's been pretty obvious. He doesn't want to be over there for the next 5 to 6 years. He signs a 5-year extension. That means he's there 6 years. He gets $150 million. I don't care about the tax code. Shout out crypto. Love you, bud. But the taxes aren't what the problem is here. It's where am I going to be for the next 5 or 6 years making my money? Because my family's coming there too. And they're like, well, we'd be comfortable not in California.
They poop in the streets in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Because the argument that, well, it's the role that he plays, and he's worried that could end up, impacting, him getting paid. Well, if you pay him, don't you kind of remove that off the table? Like, you don't have to be as worried about getting hurt if we just give you a huge contract with all this guaranteed money. You would think that the role wouldn't be as big of an issue. But that's why I don't know, something there that I don't know about that's out there, but there's something that went sour in that relationship.
Well, the reason why I'm asking about him, like right off the bat, is that is the item on the docket that could upset the first 10 picks, right? Wouldn't you think that the Niners would be able to net a top 10 choice on Thursday night should they decide to flip Debo to either Carolina?
Jets 4th pick. That's what they want. The Jets say, all right, we're caving. Give us Debo. Here's the 4th pick. I think they pull that trigger immediately, and all else is taken care of, except for Debo signing. And from what we're hearing, again, Debo's not high on the Jets as well.
Who would they be holding on to that pick for if they're sold on Zach Wilson?
They've got the 4th and the 10th, so and they need weapons. They're gonna take
Zach Wilson. Who's the alternative?
As far as quarterback, nobody. They're not going off a quarterback. They're gonna look at probably. I mean, they could probably get the number 1 or number 2 pass rusher, or their fanatical is on the money. It's Sauce Gardner that they need. They need DB help badly.
San Francisco knows that they wouldn't hold on to that number 4. You know what I mean?
San Francisco holding on to the 4th pick if they
no,
had.
I'm saying San Francisco knows the Jets will come off of that number 4.
No, they won't. Jets don't want to come off the 4th pick. They want and Fanatical's right. It's been all projected. They want Sauce Gardner. They need defensive back help badly, especially in the AFC. The Jets got a lot of holes, and they're not a Debo Samuel away.
They don't think that guy will fall to 10.
They need wide receiver help too. Even if they got Debo, it doesn't help them. Again, they're not a Debo Samuel $120 million contract away from making, getting into the playoff contention.
That doesn't mean their sorry asses don't think that.
No, they definitely. Well, it's split amongst their fan base, and I've seen them, chatting about it. But we'll continue with the video.
The Jets. I mean, there's a number of teams in the top 10 that I'd imagine would flip. Do you think that's a fair market for Debo going in?
I think you would, if you're one of those teams that you mentioned, I think you got to get. It's crazy to say it, but just when you factor in what happened with these last 2 trades, and I know Debo's a little bit younger, but those 2 trades were for the equivalent of the 13th pick. So if you're going to trade let's take the Jets, they picked 10. If you're going to trade 10 for Debo Samuel, is Debo Samuel with 3 higher draft slots than Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams? I don't think I would say that he is, and I love him. but I would think you would, and it might not take much. Maybe you get a 4-back or a 3-back with him. But if I'm going to part with number 10, based off the precedent of these recent trades being the 13th pick, I would want at least a little something coming back my way.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's
yeah, but always doing business later means you pay more sometimes. You know what I'm saying? That's why you try to sign your guy early to whatever contract, because
exactly that's the point Crypto always makes. You got a guy, you go up, move up to get him.
You
Don't
keep
matter
waiting
whether that guy's worth that spot or not.
Well, and again, the longer you wait, the other wide receivers are going for 13th pick value trade. Well, you waited too long to get them. And the Jets have been trying to get everybody. The problem is players aren't wanting to go there. Now they've signed some, big name tight ends to big contracts, but that's because tight ends don't get big name money. The only one we're probably going to see get some big time money here in the future will be Mike Gesicki, and that'll be with Green Bay after they trade him.
That's why I'm asking you about what you think the market for something like this would be, because this is the thing that could totally upset the Thursday night apple cart for us and everybody else who's watching. Daniel.
Yeah, and I love watching Debo in Kyle Shanahan's offense. He's unbelievable. But it would be fun for our jobs on Thursday night, selfishly speaking, if we got a little trade action.
Well, certainly if it involves a certain team from New York City,
Well, there's also that. You know what's interesting on Debo too, Rich, and this is why I say I'd want something back. But if you backed me into a corner and said, at the end of the day, I can trade 10 and get Debo, and they really drove a hard bargain, I would part with 10 personally.
Right.
And the reason I would do that is because we did a thing, I don't know if you remember this, maybe 2 drafts ago.
Mm-hmm.
We did a thing called Finding Debo. We did a little play on Finding Debo, and we did a thing on Finding Debo. Nobody's found another Debo, okay? We've been trying to find another version of this dude for 3 years. He doesn't exist. This is a one-of-one player in the NFL.
He's like Andre Johnson out of the backfield sometimes. That's what Debo kind of reminds me of, how he runs with the ball. It's Andre Johnson, back when he was playing in the Houston Texans, ex-Kane, love him. But I don't know. And again, this is something nobody's really talking about. Nobody values these top picks in this draft. Everyone's trying to move down. And really the value picking in this draft is, the second, high seconds, low firsts are going to be all mixed in there with the talent, defensive backs, wide receivers, everybody. When you don't have top heavy quarterbacks in the top 10, you ain't got 3 quarterbacks coming out, and there's not a consensus All-American or Pro Bowler or suck for luck type of guy in this draft. And why wouldn't the Niners see it this way as well? Now, I'm not saying that they don't want a draft pick this year to get a guy to replace Debo if they let him walk out of the building, but maybe they might see, a year later's capital just as important, if not more important, because remember, they don't have their first round draft pick next year. And I'll sound like a broken record, it might take 2 first round draft picks to make this happen. And if the Dolphins don't have to give them both first-round draft picks next year and keep the Niners pick and give them ours and Green Bay's, that's 28th, everyone's happy. Debo comes to where he wants to come. You get rid of Gesicki in this entire movement, so you make that money turn around. You've got all the money you need for everything, and it takes care of itself. So me put this back.
Would you trade 10 for Debo?
Yesterday. Yeah. I did it mentally yesterday. I did it mentally 5 times over the weekend. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Like, and we're talking about, again, he looks great in the Kyle Shanahan offense. You just said that.
Yeah.
The Jets run. I know it's not Kyle dialing the plays, but it's floor. You know what I'm saying? And so let's go. And I think him in New York City would be dynamite in the same way that I didn't think Tyreek Hill would be a good match for Zach Wilson right now, and the Jets aren't ready for that. This is a different guy. I mean, this is a totally different guy in Deebo Samuel for me.
He can take the easiest completion and turn it into something outstanding.
No, I mean,
yeah. Again, there's the speculation on the Jets because that's where the sense is made. That's paying a little bit more than 13. All these reasons. I don't know. Lot to debate in that sense. I don't know if, again, the same reason Deebo isn't just re-signing with the Niners would be the reason why he doesn't end up on the Jets. The Jets want him by all accounts and by reports. You know, the Jets are willing to give up that 10th pick for him. Maybe we will see a draft day trade. Shout out Crypto because he called it draft day trade for the 10th pick. But it's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing, and to me, you can never count out old Chris Greer making some moves in the draft, even in the later rounds, with capital in the future, players like Christian Wilkins, Byron Jones, and Mike Gesicki, tradable assets that other teams might be willing to pay a premium for. And this is the time to trade them because this year's draft class, as far as talent goes, is just not what it's usually been. Even guys like, okay, the best tight end ranked is the kid from Central Michigan, which I think is he's awesome. I love the kid from Central Michigan, but it's usually not the school you get the best tight end out of. You know what I'm saying? It's usually an SEC school or something like that, or somebody who's been lighting it up. There's just a lot more questions with the COVID year thrown in this and all the changes that's happened in college and, you know, all these inconclusive data. So I agree, Carla. He don't want to be there. Why would he want to go there? Nobody wants to go there. He don't want to go to San Francisco. Why would he want to go to New York? And if again, it's about family and what they're comfortable in and their environment and their surroundings, it just doesn't seem to make any sense. Now, if they offer him an ass load of money and make it an offer he can't refuse, worst ever, total. I'm really good at mimicking and stuff. That was a terrible thing. But if they make him an offer he can't refuse, but that Deebo said it's not about money. It's not about it. So, all right. So here's Pat McAfee talking about, I love Pat McAfee. He's hilarious. Talking about the nightclub video that we had on the other night and the owner coming out and trying to commentate the video. And then Rap Sheet gets on afterwards and they talk a little bit more about it. Uh-oh, Vern. Messed up here, guys. Give me a second. All right. Sorry about that. Boom, shakalaka. Let's try this again, everybody.
Allegedly available out there in his eyes. We don't know if that's how the Niners feel. This weekend, things really heated up at Francis Martinelli's club. Yeah. And I say Francis Martinelli's club because we'll get to that in a second. A video hit the internet this weekend and ran wild. It was of a bottle service situation popping up, and the sign reads, Deebo staying with the Niners. A camera then cuts from the sign to Deebo, who is in the VIP section of said club by a couch, rocking an incredibly thick Cuban link and another chain, looking very fresh. And he cuts out, no. So the internet says he is not going back to the Niners. He obviously just mocked that. Francis Martinelli hit a follow-up piece, a post, and he said, this is my club, okay? Francis Martinelli says. He wasn't saying no to the Niners sign. He was saying no to the waitresses bringing it over to his table.
Oh.
Listen, this is hilarious. Smart by the club owner, getting out in front of everything, trying to put some context to it, getting some free publicity. Probably gonna have to kick Debo some shuckles back there to thank him for all the immense amount of blow up. I'm sure millions of people are coming into that place, ordering and partying in that joint now. I'm sure they were beforehand. Debo's not walking into slum houses. Let's be real.
Same client sent ones out after saying, "Don't worry, Debo, your money is coming from the Niners," and he was smiling. I spoke with him all night. He's fine.
Okay,
So
there you go.
A couple follow-ups.
And now this guy is speaking to and for the Debo Samuel. So I guess Francis, whatever the hell his name is Debo's agent now. He knows what's going on.
I'm sure Debo loves that the owner of the fucking club is recording him and putting it out and causing controversy.
Sure.
I'm sure he also loved the fact that the owner was just fucking sitting in his section talking to him all goddamn night. And I'm assuming he is also pumped that the owner came out and clarified the whole story for everybody to understand that all things are okay.
Everybody's happy. Who's not happy in this situation? The owner had a great night. Debo got to hang out with this guy all night, and his money's coming to him. Everyone's happy. It's win-win.
By the way, club looked lit.
Yeah, it did.
I will say it looked like a great time.
It did.
Anytime the signs and the sparklers are coming out, and that. By the way, the invention of the light thing in the end of the bottle. Really changed the game.
Oh, yeah. Big time. That's when you know.
That really changed the game. That made it a lot more efficient to have a little bit bigger show for the bottles coming out.
Right.
Back in the day, bottle service was not nearly as awesome as it currently is.
Yeah.
I got a chance to experience both kind of sides of it. Much better nowadays. I mean.
All right, hold on. Let me try to find where Rappaport comes on there. But yeah, that's the official clarification. Still looking at the video, I don't think he's saying no to bottle service. It's like he's saying, no, I ain't doing this. But then again, maybe he's saying, no, I ain't doing this bottle service. So who knows? But here's Rap Sheet coming on there. And they get into it a little bit. And again, just like Jeff Darlington said, just like buddy on Rich Eisen, Daniel Jeremiah just said, everyone will be pretty shocked if Debo doesn't get traded.
I can hear it in the whole thing. I have to ask you about Debo Samuel once again. And what,
took you long enough.
What you're hearing? Well, is he coming to the Colts or not? What's going on with the Colts and Debo Samuel? And did you like the fact that Francis Martinelli came out and said, "Hey, listen, that's my nightclub. Hey, that's my nightclub." Debo wasn't saying nah to the sign.
No.
He was saying nah to the entire thing coming to his area.
Obviously.
There was another sign at another one of my clients who I would tell you exactly who it is, who I got photos of. He put up another one and said, "Don't worry, Debo, the Niners are going to pay you or whatever." And he said, "Ha, ha, ha, cool. We were talking all night. We spoke about it." So
none of that sounds true, by the way.
You don't think? No.
I love how he's playing it all in the severity. Look at their faces right now. Perfect cat and mouse game at this point.
Oh, what? Martinelli's feeling?
Rap Sheet.
I mean, look, he seems like a good source.
He said, "This is my club."
His club.
It's Franco Martinelli.
He owns it.
I mean,
Frankie.
I do appreciate the drink, the waitresses or whatever carrying around the stay Debo side. That was a nice touch. I don't know. I kind of felt like he was more like, "Hey, can you stop videotaping me while I'm just literally walking in a club?"
Perhaps maybe.
I don't know.
What if it was from the owner? The owner was videotaping you. All right, go ahead. Are you charging for these bottles or not? Because this is free now.
Yeah, I mean what great advertisement for the club, by the way, and Franco Martinelli.
Hey, looks like a good time. Looks like a good time.
Place is bumping.
Having a good time out there. It looks like.
Yeah, definitely my kind of scene as well.
Oh, is there booze there? Yeah, it's Ian's kind of scene.
There you go.
Yep. So the 49ers have their press conference today, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they say, because I would be surprised at this point if they say we're not trading him. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, people walking in here. I don't want them to mess up, lock the door.
Did that guy drop the G? Yeah, he did. Is that guy all right? Vegas can be tough. Yeah. Tell him it's going to be all right.
Getting home.
That's the city of sin. That guy ain't there, actually, but you can look for him. A lot of people looking for him. Tell that guy everything's going to be okay. Hey, everything's going to be all right.
Keep your head up.
Everything's going to be all right, dude. Jesus will find you, dude.
I assume.
Was that Sicily on?
I think so.
With the 49ers, what's happening right now with the 49ers is they are seeing what's real and what's not real, right? Because I think if someone is going to trade for Deebo Samuel, it's going to happen before Thursday.
All right, so I'm holding them there at the before Thursday. That, if it happens before Thursday, I don't think it's the Dolphins. The longer this simmers and we're into the first round of the draft, that's when it can become all the more real to being done by the Dolphins, especially if the first round comes and goes. That's when I think we're really in business now. Who knows? We'll see who trades out of the first round with these multitude of picks as well. Maybe Green Bay figures out a way to take the 28th pick and trade it out for a second round pick and some second and thirds next year. That might be something the Dolphins would be interested in for Mike Gesicki. Maybe they take picks for next year. Maybe the San Francisco 49ers wisely would want more picks in next year's draft than this year's draft. I don't know. I can't, look, San Francisco loses Deebo Samuel. I don't think they're going, okay, well, that's our new Deebo Samuel. That's not how that offense has worked anyhow. It's always been who's the guy that we're going to lean on this game. Going all the way back to when his dad would lean on Shannon Sharp or what's the running back's name that I'm forgetting, back when he had Elway. It's just you ride the hot hand per se. So, all right, let's bring this bad boy back up. Guys, make sure you're hitting the like button, please.
We know the value. We've seen it twice. So Tyreek and Devontae Adams both got traded for around the value of the 13th pick in the draft. The Jets, when you put all the picks together, the Jets, when they made their offer for Tyreek, it was a little bit better than the 13th pick. So theoretically, they'd be willing to offer a little more, but that's what the value is going to be. I think the 49ers would like to keep him, but at some point, if a guy doesn't want to be there and you'd have to pay him and you're not sure how it's like, if you pay him, is he still even going to be happy? Like they're going to have to turn something real down, and we'll see by Thursday if they do it.
Oh, so Deebo's getting traded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Go ahead, Ty. That's what it sounded. By the way, a lot of people said that you don't know anything. That's what this happens to you all the time on the West Coast.
To be fair, a lot of people say a lot of things.
Well, that's the whole purpose of speaking, I think, right?
So I hear.
Yeah, I say he heard it. Someone said it.
Because people
talk.
Say stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Are you full of shit though? Who are the people you talk to over there? And do you feel comfortable about every team you speak about that you have a connection there, or do you listen to what other people around the league are saying about a particular place whenever you go about making your? Because for instance, when you talk about the Seahawks,
okay, so Pat McAfee looks like he toked himself up a big fatty at the start of this show, and when he goes, "Are you full of shit?" to Ian Rappaport, then it was, trying to get himself to not talk. Ian Rappaport being probably not so full of shit, as we know. I think he's just playing a little loose right now. Ian Rappaport's a good sport, though.
Seahawks, when you talk about the Seahawks, the Seahawks fan.
Yeah.
I have never seen a more hey, they do not love Ian Rappaport.
Right.
Okay.
How is this possible?
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know, but I had to mute a couple words in my notifications, and they were all coming to you. I was like, I don't need this negativity because Ian's saying this thing. You're not the only guest that this has happened, by the way. I was on the Danish political news, and they were calling me a terrible person because another guest that we had talked about his immunized status or whatever. So don't worry, this happens all the time.
I read about that.
Yeah, probably. What people were saying, but anyways, the Niners people though.
What the hell is he talking about? He was on a Danish news channel talking about. Fucking, I missed this one. I can't tell if he's joking or what the hell's going on. I don't know. Tripping me out right now.
They really, whenever you broke the news about Debo and the alleged video, obviously, that's been taken down over the internet now, a situation, they say Ian doesn't know shit about anything. When you speak about a team, we all assume, I think, because you are an insider, that you're coming from a place of information that you're privy to that we are not. Is that an accurate depiction of you, or are you just bullshitting out there all the time?
So for me to say something to you guys or to say on NFL Network, it has to be something. It can't be like my guess. So if you ever hear me say I think, it probably means I misspoke, because I almost never talk like that unless you pin me down and I sort of have to say something, which happens from time to time. It has to be real, and it has to be something that represents what is actually going on. So like, I'm sure that for 49ers fans, they probably didn't like the fact that Deebo Samuel did not want the team to make an offer because he didn't want to be there. But that is the reality of the situation.
You think?
And what's that?
You think?
No.
Oh,
Okay. Ooh, bombshell right there again. And this is Pat McAfee taking the show of fun and making it as serious as you can, because this is Ian Rappaport, and I'm going to rewind it here.
I'm sure that for 49ers fans, they probably didn't like the fact that Deebo Samuel did not want the team to make an offer because he didn't want to be there. But that is the reality of the situation.
You think?
And what's that?
You think?
I know.
Oh,
Okay.
I know.
See?
Not bad.
See? Hey, that is
Pretty good.
pretty good.
So, again, Debo does not want to be in San Francisco. This might not get resolved come draft night, or maybe the 10th pick comes and goes, and now the reality of what the Dolphins can get from Green Bay for Mike potentially becomes what purchases Debo for future picks. I don't know. That's kind of how I see it. I can't see Arizona going after Mike Gesicki unless, I don't know, maybe they love him, but I don't know. What do you think, Color?
Yeah, I could see them. I mean, like I said, I think that he's just as every bit as helpful to a guy like Murray as he is to Tua.
Yeah, but they got Zach Ertz
go
over
all
there
out
too.
for him or not, but who do they have over there? I mean,
They got Zach Ertz.
Fields
They
Jones?
signed him to
Oh,
him. They got Zach Ertz, and he's
Zach Ertz,
playing good.
I mean, I'm
He played-
surprised I'm really surprised he's still even going. He's already had a tenured
33 years old now.
Yeah.
But they signed him to an extension. They want to keep him around. It is no future. I could see them bringing him in because of that reason. But no, Vicken, Mike Gesicki has not been traded, but that's the rumor that he's on the trading block. There's also the rumor of Wilkins and Byron straight up for Debo. Now, if that's the pick straight up for Debo,
I don't know why. Well, real quick, I don't know why Gesicki wouldn't have been involved in the Edmonds trade if the destination was Arizona.
I don't know.
They
They didn't have to trade for Edmonds. Edmonds was a free agent, so we just signed him.
Yeah, true.
So we didn't have to do that.
Yeah, true.
Yep, Fanatical saying Niners fans were hoping for the Jets picks, not players and future picks. And that's the word on the street in the Twitter sphere as far as what Niners fans want. But look at how GMs and teams view this draft right now. You're not getting the value picks. The 10th pick is not a great pick to have. Potentially, you could be holding a pick you don't really want. You want to trade back, and now you got to reach on a guy. And again, the data is inconclusive on these players as far as where their ceilings are, where their positions are, how they're best served. It's just it's a really weird draft. So it's the COVID draft, Fanatical. Thank you, buddy. Yes, it's the COVID draft. This is the kids that came in. It's just a whole weird type of draft. It could play out where these players, because of the inconclusive data, people weren't able to see that the guy getting picked in the second round or the guy getting picked in the third round, like a guy like David Bell, for instance, from Purdue, being one of the best, because his combine numbers were terrible. And before the combine, just on his output, he was a low first round, second round pick. Now they're talking about him third, fourth round. So MC Gesicki signed a franchise tag. So that's it. It's a 1-year deal. It's not like it's a long-term contract. And a team, typically you don't sign franchise tags unless it's kind of putting off the money and the numbers. And it's not like the Dolphins don't have the money and the numbers right now. They could totally take that 11 million, give them a few more and signing bonus. They can maneuver. They can pay the guy. They don't want to. It's been pretty clear. Now, does Mike come and ball out and bulk up and show that he can run inside this offense and be George Kittle? Maybe he gets that opportunity. But I'm not holding my breath for Mike Gesicki to look like George Kittle. I don't know about you guys. So, just being real. There's some other videos coming out from Dolphins land, some workout videos and things like that. Also on the Dolphins podcast network, or not podcast, Dolphins YouTube channel, they dropped another one of those cool videos where Travis Wingfield does like a hosting. He brought in this assistant director of college scouting, Matt Winston, to break down. He's like the defense side thing. And they look at Xavier Howard, Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, Nick Needham, Christian Wilkins. They go over that. I haven't watched this video, so we can all watch it together. But beforehand, I'm going to play the video of the OTAs and guys doing work. There's some, a little bit of Van Ginkel, just some stuff, just to check it out for everybody. But everyone, before I do, make sure you're hitting the like button, everybody, and checking out all the great shows. Tonk 7 TMI Tuesdays, live at 9. Color commentary on there with them. Right tomorrow, you guys can catch them at 9. Make sure to go check it out. Right after that is Open Mic with Mike on the Mic. Thursday nights is Late Night Color Commentary coming at you. And then every other night of the week, we got the Fins Tailgate, El Capitan, myself, Cash App, Venmo, Fanatics. Link is in the description. Our gear is in the link in the description. And Super Chat is live and in action. Help support the channel, guys. Help us grow. Help us keep this train rolling in the downtime. Put some resources into getting a little bit more creative in other ways. We're going to be trying some things out over the coming months, figuring out ways to provide great, fun, educational, and party time content for everybody, tailgate style, as you guys already know. So let's pull this video up real quick and check it out. And then we can go through the Dolphins thing. Color. Boom. Shakalaka. There go Van Ginkel right there. Van Ginkel, one of my favorite players, sneaky underrated. I expect to see him ball out as best as he's got this year. Earn himself some big money as a Dolphin. He's a new father, new married man. I love Van Ginkel. Just a lunch pail working badass, man. Duke Riley, too, has found himself, with a home and hopefully a future with the Dolphins forever, because I like his energy as well. There's Duke Riley. Look at him getting it. We'll go Baker. One-handed snag, Tyreek Hill. Let's bring that back a little bit. One-handed snag from Tyreek Hill. Look at this. Sunk behind him, thrown way far and behind him. Wonder who threw that football. Throwing that far behind him where he's got to reach out. He got some long-ass arms, too. Yeah, he does. All righty, guys. Thanks, John. Appreciate you checking out the Same Old Dolphin Show. Make sure to hit a like and leave a comment, TFTG, in there. Let the boys know we in the house. All right. Did anybody catch the Dolphins video with the scout dude? Matt, Winston, anybody in the chat? You guys able to catch it? I don't know. Color, did you watch it?
No.
No?
I did like perfect example of what I've been talking about with Tyreek Hill and catching a football. You notice what his head did, man? Like, follow the ball all the way around.
Never took his eye off the ball, man.
No, he just took the ball right out of there. That wasn't a catch. That was a taking.
Yep, my football. Football thrown my direction
Well,
because it's mine.
Look at this ball in there. I'll just take that. That's mine.
It was his. That's how I like that. The only guy I want with that type of attitude in spades is wide receivers, because you got to have that kind of mindset.
How you truly catch a football.
Well, you gotta think to yourself always in every which way, no matter what. That ball in the air is my football. I'm taking it, and I'm gonna make everybody pay.
To let it hit the ground. It only hits the ground because you chose to not take it out of the air before it did.
Mm-hmm. There's a swag that has to come along with that, and it's very important.
You gotta like tap it and then take it out of there. Whatever you gotta do, but you
gotta. It's hard in a lot of ways to take your eye not off the ball, but off of people that want to take your head off. But Tyreek Hill, being savvy,
trick, isn't it?
Well, but you take your eye off the ball and you snag that. Take your eye off the ball in the sense of the defenders. So you keep your eye on the ball by taking your eye off the ball. Let's not use the eye on the ball thing. Take your eye off the defenders to keep your eye on the ball. Tyreek Hill's got enough confidence in himself that, hey, if I catch this football and there's someone bearing down on me, I'm going to be able to shake and bake and not take the hit, maybe even get away from him. But this Travis Wingfield thing was pretty cool. The last one we got to see where he had the whatchamacallit dude in there, another scout. So I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see what this guy's got going on. So let's see. Get this pulled up. Alex, it's that's the rumor, man. You'll have to go back to the beginning of the video to check out a lot of the talk with the Gesicki talk, but there's some rumors that I'm hearing as of late Arizona is asking about him, but the one I was hearing and told to not talk about, but now people are talking about, is Green Bay. And go back and watch the video from earlier. I go into depth of what it is exactly that I heard. So, but let's go ahead and pull this part up. Boom. Shock of my Laka Flocka Waka.
Joined today by Matt Winston. Matt, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We're talking about the draft process, the combine, the whole rigmarole here. And I want to go ahead and just start with, what's your title and role with the Miami Dolphins?
I'm the assistant director of college scouting.
Assistant director of college scouting. So what is your specific focus? And I guess college, but is there a certain region that you really focus on?
Yeah, I live in Dallas, Texas, and I handle most of the SEC West, so Alabama, kind of all the way out to the West Coast.
SEC, it just matters more down there, right?
That's
how it goes. So
that's what they tell me.
So this guy's head honcho of the SEC scouting. So all right.
How would you describe your job to someone that has no idea what the heck you do?
It's part evaluator, part investigative reporter, a little bit in terms of just, because we have to dive into the background and to the personalities of kind of what makes these guys tick, and then there's also the evaluation piece of trying to figure out who can actually play at the NFL level.
And so we're going to talk about a few players with you today. And let's go back to 2016, I think is our furthest guy back on our list here, and Xavier Howard, and kind of the process of getting to know him at Baylor. What was the first thing that really stood out to you about Xavier Howard in college?
First thing that stood out, and it still stands out about Xavier, is just his ball skills. Just his ability to find the ball, it's very rare for a player.
I love Xavier
at
Howard.
position, to be able to track.
Such a
and
treat to watch him play
You mentioned
football.
the investigative side of things and kind of getting to know these guys and their background. What kind of stood out about X in terms of the behind the scenes and the makeup and the character of what kind of guy he was?
Just getting to know X was just how much he cared about the game, how much work he really put into studying and preparing at the college level. Because if they're already doing it at the college level, it's probably going to translate to our level. I remember we brought him down on a 30 visit to our facility, and we had some players in the spring working out during OTAs. And he immediately recognized a few of them. They have uniforms on and everything, but he recognized them from Big 12 play, knew who they were. And these weren't like frontline players either. They were more practice squad guys, and he knew exactly who they were. And I knew he would be a professional just from one of those little tidbits, to go along with the rest of his character profile. This just made him a good pro.
Was there?
Yeah, you don't get no trouble out of Xavier Howard outside of paying him what he wants. He's a pretty good businessman as far as evaluating how much he's worth. And go get it, my man. Get every dime you can from whatever. And as long as you're, pick sixes and interceptions the way he is, he's worth every dime. Nobody can take that away from him.
One thing that stood out about him that you said, this guy is a Miami Dolphin, we have to go get him?
I just think at that position, you're always looking for playmakers. And his ability to find the ball and play the ball and finish on the ball was just rare.
You talk about playmakers. He was 2016 last year. We got another one of those guys in Javon Holland. He made a bunch of plays this year for the Dolphins. What stood out about Javon Holland for you?
Yeah, the first exposure I remember having with Javon was actually during a sophomore season. Really wasn't even there to scout him in particular. Javon kept making plays on defense, on special teams. The kind of guy that had you checking your roster just to make sure he wasn't draft eligible. But it was a great first impression, and it was something that kind of stuck with me through the rest of the process.
What did you kind of notice about him and your kind of background research on him going into the draft after an opt-out year, but he didn't play in 2020?
Right. His ability to show up to pro day, he had gained muscle. I think he had gained some speed too. Tested off the charts, checked every box at his pro day, just showed us that he was able to prepare on his own as a pro. And I think you kind of just saw that transfer.
Boom.
Kind of hit the ground.
Laid that wood on his ass.
He was a guy that his father was a.
I haven't seen this video, guys, but I hope he asks him about Noah Igbenogany. I doubt he will, because remember, Travis, he's an employee of the Dolphins. He's not gonna, these are all worked out. But I love the content for sure. But man, I would love to know what they think about Noah.
A CFL star, and he understood the workout that was required for a player to make it to this level. Did you guys kind of recognize in him pretty early on, like this guy is wired the right way?
Javon was easy because, he's a pleasure to work with whenever you get guys that from the first source you talk to is just gushing about him. Those are the kind of guys that are a pleasure to work with and make the process a lot easier. You sleep better at night as a scout, when you're dealing with guys like that.
I know it's only 1 year so far, but is there something that you can look at, before his rookie season that he really worked on and grew a lot better at that one?
Really anything different that stood out to us. He's always been instinctive. He's always been super productive. He's had four or five picks each season, the 2 years at Oregon. So for him to come in and hit the ground running like it did, it wasn't that surprising. Like I said, he's a guy that makes it easy to sleep at night as a scout because you kind of know what you're getting.
Yeah, exactly. And I think probably some of those same things would be said about his running mate there, and Brandon Jones, who was drafted a year earlier in the third round out of Texas. There's a bunch of stories about some of the ways that he prepared for the draft that year because he couldn't work out at the combine. Can you tell us about that at all in terms of asking for everyone's playbook and getting himself mentally right when he couldn't be on the field physically?
Yeah, that's kind of something we found out a little bit after the fact that he was kind of doing on his own. But that doesn't surprise me either because he was always well thought of at Texas. Again, just like Javon, you're drafting a professional already. They're not going to have to come to the NFL and turn into professional. They're already professional before they leave college.
Did you get a pretty good sense of him?
That's the best player right there. A young man that in college when no one's watching, he's putting in the extra work because they want to be NFL players and they take nothing for granted. And when they're going to get their NFL opportunity, everyone who passes up on them is going to wish they didn't, and they're going to make themselves and their presence felt. And that's what being a football player is all about, man. Season carpet the diem, bitches.
His versatility, because we see him play down in the box in the post, like you mentioned, slot. He plays all over the place. Did you kind of see that right away at Texas?
Yeah, at Texas, he was able to play some of the star nickel position there. They kind of moved him around a little bit, so we knew he'd have some versatility, and then just the speed he has. he can play in a lot of different places. So none of that was a surprise. Yeah.
As far as the way he's kind of progressed as a Miami Dolphin, what's impressed you the most about Brandon Jones as a professional?
Yeah, just his competitiveness. I think he's very reliable in terms of what you're getting day in, day out when he's out there. You're going to get some sort of explosive play, and he's got a little niche now rushing the passer in terms of some of those exotic packages that they put together on defense, and just really being a force in and around the line of scrimmage. I think is really kind of where he stood out to me.
Now we're going to go to the undrafted guy, Nick Needham, and he's made a nice career for himself here, kind of growing from a guy that was on the practice squad to grow all the way up to a big time contributor last year. Well,
back on Brandon Jones, I was super high on the pick. I thought it was a sneaky pick and that it could have been the steal of the draft. And in some ways, looking back on that draft, I think that's the one, for the pick and where he was picked. I think it was in the 3rd round. He's a good contributor on this team.
What was the process of kind of uncovering a guy like that in the undrafted realm to find out if he was a fit for the Miami Dolphins?
We had targeted him as one of our top potential undrafted guys, and when it came to that time, and he was still there and had not been drafted, we thought he'd be the perfect type of kid to go after, and maybe he makes a practice squad and then develops from there, and that's kind of what's happened for him, and now he's playing an integral role on the defense.
What's a physical trait?
Ain't nobody outworking Nick Needham, man. Love that guy.
That really stood out to him down there at was it Texas El Paso?
Yeah.
What stood out to him down there physically?
Really, just the first thing that kind of stood out was just he's a very controlled player. He was never stressed. He didn't maybe have the high-end, high-weight speed that some of these other corners had or possessed, but he was always instinctive, always in the right place, and I think that's kind of translated over to the game on Sunday as well, where he anticipates well, and then he finishes on the ball.
So you talk about a guy undrafted. Obviously, there's some growth that has to happen for every player, but undrafted, I think, probably has a little more of that. What's an area you've seen him really grow and improve in throughout his pro career?
Yeah, I think it's physicality. It's always a transition for these guys coming from the college game, even at corner. And playing inside there, there's a lot more
big boys inside there.
Perimeter, or maybe X does, because you're having to deal with the run fits a little bit more. And I think Nick's really grown in that area. And obviously the coaching staff does a great job emphasizing all those things. And Nick's really taken to that, and he's really grown.
Some of these guys a little more quiet, soft-spoken.
Yeah.
Not the case with Christian.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe this is a little more obvious for some folks. But in your process, what about him and his character really stood out to you guys when the whole process?
And tell us why Christian Wilkins is worth 2 first-round picks and why San Francisco should feel lucky in an equal swap for him for Debo.
Process began when you said that's the guy that we would kind of want to go towards the first round of 2019.
Yeah, obviously a very talented athlete. I mean, from everything you see on Sunday with him playing offense and defense and everything, and yeah, that makes it easy in terms of just jumping out to you. He played on a very athletic Clemson defense there that had a number of pro prospects, and he kind of stood out from that process.
They're going to show him doing a backflip.
Scout Chase Leshin did a great job with him, just in terms of doing the background and all the recon work on him. Another high character kid. I mean, that's the kind of, you see a trend here in terms of just high character guys.
He's definitely, if you had a whole team of Christian Wilkinses, you'd have a pretty fun, entertaining, good football team. Dominant, I don't know. That's the thing. Like, Christian Wilkins, great football player, but it just doesn't feel like he'll ever be dominant. I mean, is he going to go to Pro Bowls? Is he the best in his position? Is he one of the best in his position? It really, I love the guy, but I'm just being real.
End up turning into good players. It's no different with Christian.
Because that was a deep defensive tackle class. What were some of the deciding factors to go towards Christian?
Really just the athletic ability, first of all, the ability to develop as a pass rusher, his versatility, because he's so athletic, you can line him up in a number of different spots along the defensive line. Those are the main contributing factors for him.
What are some improvements that he's made in his career that maybe you guys weren't expecting right away, but you've seen him kind of grow and get better in those areas?
Yeah, just his ability to change the line of scrimmage. And I think he made a big jump this year, just in terms of being more.
He is versatile. I'll give him that.
I think he was much.
That's a bad play to watch him not drive through the tackle and sit in the hole. About missed that. Terrible highlight at the end there. Shouldn't have done that. But I don't know, man. I love Christian Wilkins' attitude. He's definitely a guy that there's no way you can't meet the guy and just probably fall in love with everything else. But being real for the money he's going to command and are the Dolphins going to? Is he in their future plans? That's the same thing with Mike Gesicki, and the same thing with Byron Jones for that matter, because if the guy's just a 1-year deal and you can get rid of any one of these guys for a guy you believe that is a multi-year deal in a Deebo Samuel, that seems to be what might be the reasons for everything. I had a couple of draft pick type of talk, which it's so hard to get in the draft. Again, shout out to the guys at Same Old Dolphins. We did a little bit of draft talk, went into a couple of, players and stuff. But, if we're sitting in the third round or it's the second round even, would the Dolphins package some of these picks and some other mid-round picks from next year and move up and strike in the second round if a Nakobe Dean fell down? Or I don't know, is there a player in which they think they can move up from, 102 I believe they have? I don't know, that could cost more than they might be willing to spend. Maybe it's as simple as they'll move just a little bit up in the third round because somebody's sitting there. Maybe the Boston College center, Alec Linderbaum, I think it's his name. He's sitting there 5-6 picks in the third round ahead of them, and they use that to go up. I like Muma. I like Muma. Muma's pretty damn good. I love his tape. His tape is awesome. He's definitely looks like a guy I would enjoy on this football team. There's Dolphins did have some guys in the building today, and
look, I don't think we would move up back into the first round.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think we would to guess. We would do it if we had our eyes on a certain guy. You know what I mean? But we wouldn't do something like that just to guess.
Yeah, there's no moving for anything other than for certain unless it's going back. Moving into the first round would cost one of those first rounders next year. While everyone else is trying to get out of the top 10, the Dolphins are going to jump back into the first round. Not going to happen, guys. Again, they traded a lot of these draft picks in this year because they don't like the draft. Or again, I don't know how many times I got to say it. There's incomplete data for this draft class. Fanatical said it earlier, and I've said it before. This is the COVID draft class. Everyone's looking towards next year's draft in some ways. So I don't know, maybe move up a little bit in the third from 102, as high up in the third as they need to go to get someone that they think is in striking distance, that is somebody worth it. And we've had success in the third round and fourth round for that matter, and fifth round. We've had pretty good success with those mid-tier picks. I mean, Jerome Baker was a third rounder. Brandon Jones is a mid-round pick as well. So Van Ginkel, I think he was in the fifth round. We picked Van Ginkel. So it's not like we can't find somebody. And although the talent isn't jumping off the charts in a lot of the categories, everyone's kind of grouped into the same thing. So we might find ourselves in the third round, even if stay put, someone falling right into our lap that with more data, or if there wasn't a COVID year, maybe he's somebody who would have gone into the second round. You know what I'm saying? So there is some movement here. The Dolphins did have a couple of visitors come in, and a common theme is they're bringing in defensive tackles on their visits, and they're all zero tech guys, which tells me kind of two things. One, if they pick a guy with the third pick and it's a zero tech defensive tackle, a 300+ pounder guy that's a space eater, this also signals to me that Christian Wilkins' days could be numbered, not because he's taking Christian Wilkins' job, but that he's taking Raekwon's job, and then you have Raekwon take Christian Wilkins' job. And that's something I could see. So something to consider. I have this article here about it. I think Barry Jackson wrote it. Miami Herald, shout out Miami Herald. Subscribe to the Herald, you guys. Support our, football and local, markets that cover the team.
I'm going to step away for just a sec while you're playing that, Chris. I'll be right back.
No problem. Just hit me back. So Miami Dolphins bring 2 talented Big Ten defenders to team headquarters for visits. Add two Big Ten defenders to the list of draft prospects the Dolphins have flown into team headquarters in recent days. League sources confirmed that Maryland safety Nick Cross and Wisconsin defensive tackle Matt Henningsen were spotted at Dolphins offices in pre-draft visits. Cross had 66 tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 interceptions last season. The Dolphins are looking to potentially add a 4th safety, one who could eventually compete for significant playing time. Baylor's JT Woods also visited, but might be gone before they make their pick in the 3rd round. So NFL.com's Zach Sirline said Cross operated as a bouncer of the defense in Maryland, playing with aggression and explosiveness to throw opponents out of the club. He is a chase player who seeks to make a statement upon impact and impressively stopping power near the line and an open field tackler. He has the temperament, size, and toughness to become an eventual starter in the league. That's always a good, guys who play hard and aggressive, as safeties, you always find work in the NFL. You putting licks on fools, everybody finds you some work. Daniel Jeremiah had this to say about Cross. There's a lot of buzz on him. He had an incredible workout. I wouldn't be shocked at all if he found his way into the 2nd round. He ran a 4.34. He's somebody that moves around. You see him kind of as a free safety. They also use him in 2 high stuff. He plays high and then can drop down into the box. The knock on him was that I thought instinct-wise, it was maybe a count late at times versus some of those other safeties as far as being on target. He is a fluid mover. He has outstanding blitzer, and I thought he was effective as a tackler. He's a good player. I have him kind of in the 3rd round mid-range. I wouldn't be surprised if he found his way into the 2nd. So this is kind of the guy that maybe the Dolphins would, find falling right into their lap. And in a draft where there's very few needs, things we do want, Dolphins fans, middle linebacker, center, running back, but you can never have too many DBs. And a guy that's talented like this falls into their lap. Maybe they think they can do something with him. And the DB coaches we got, I don't know if you guys know, I expect good things around here with these guys. So let's see. Boom, shakalaka. Let me finish this article here. It talks about the defensive tackle, Henningsen. He's 6'3", 291 pounds defensive tackle. He had 34 tackles and 3.5 sacks last season. In 4 years at Wisconsin, he had 92 tackles, including 13.5 for a loss, 8 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, which both were for touchdowns. He's a 3rd-day option for the Dolphins. Pro Football Network's Ian Cummings notes on Henningsen were as such. Blew up the Wisconsin Pro Day with excellent numbers. Among them was a 37.5 vertical, 119-inch broad jump, 7.15 3-cone drill, a 22 bench rep. The numbers translate to the tape. And what else does Henningsen might offer might be appealing to the NFL team? That 37.5 vertical would have led defensive tacklers if he had went to the combine. So his vertical could have been the best if he would have went to the combine. Henningsen has great burst off the line, Cummings wrote. Henningsen also has many building blocks in place. He's explosive, tenacious, strong, and powerful. He's also an alignment. He also is alignment versatile, which brings out an all-out effort on every snap, meaning he can do 0 and 3 technique. Hennington is worth a midday third pick as a rotational DB, or excuse me, defensive tackle and multiple schemes with potential starting upside. Maybe this guy falls to them in the 4th. Maybe they trade back in the 3rd and find themselves with him. The Dolphins hope to emerge from the draft process with at least one developmental defensive tackle. Raekwon Davis is set to be a starter, but there's opportunity behind him. They got John Jenkins and Benito Jones. You know, those are the guys that are behind there. There's definitely room for improvement. Dolphins also look to expect to potentially get an offensive lineman, tackle, or center, or another edge player and or running back. So I do have some stuff on some potential guys that'll be there for us in the D-tackle department, or excuse me, not D-tackle, the offensive department. So where is that? I found more of the defensive tackle stuff. Hold on. And for you guys that don't know, the Dolphins did bring the kid from LSU as well. They've been bringing in defensive tackles left and right. Another guy that could be a scheme fit for the defensive tackle spot, somebody that'll be there in the 3rd round, is Florida's Zachary Carter. According to PFF, Carter spent most of his time in 21 lining up in the 5 technique, but also logged more than 100 snaps in the B gap over the tackle. He's 6'4", 382 pounds. He has size to line up inside and outside the tackles against the run and quickness to move inside and face guards on passing situations. Carter uses his hands well as a pass rusher and power through blockers. He's not what he might not be. He's not really a developmental as a pass rusher. He does have explosiveness to beat tackles, but he needs to improve setting the edge and run in smaller frame. He's actually projected in the 5th round. Sorry, the guy was going to say that was projected in the 3rd round. San Diego State's Cameron Thomas. Now, Cameron Thomas is potentially a 2nd rounder. Might be there for us in the 3rd. I can't remember if the Dolphins brought this guy in too. He's 6'4", 267 pounds, versatile player lining up along the defensive line, 150 snaps in the B gap. And then he over in the offense to tackle as a 5 technique. He wins with agility as an interior pass rusher, but also has the strength to move inside to set the edge against the run as well. He has the quickness to win inside. His speed and length don't protect him as an impact pass rusher on the edge. So that's why they think he'd be better off inside. This is somebody that, if they end up picking this guy, maybe it's developmental. Maybe he can do snaps. If they ended up moving off of Christian Wilkins, maybe it's a guy that can take the role of Raekwon Davis along with Benito Jones and John Jenkins to then, move off from Wilkins, and Raekwon Davis steps in there. You still got Zach Sealer. There's just a lot of potential what the Dolphins can do on those points, but I don't know. I don't want to say I'd be shocked if they took a defensive tackle, but I think they're looking at defensive tackle because that might be the position group that'll be most fruitful as far as guys falling to them in the 3rd round and either being in striking distance or being, falling right into their lap that, I don't know. So let's see, guys. I had something else that I was going to go through. No, I don't know, but I wasn't going to do too much of a long show tonight, guys. I don't know if Color's still there. Color, are you back yet? No, it doesn't appear so. I wasn't planning on doing too much of a long show. I did a show earlier, same old Dolphins. Guys, make sure you guys go over there and hit the like button. Go and get in their comments. Give them a hashtag TFTG from El Capitan. I think I'm going to go ahead and shut the show down, guys. It is just a short show tonight. We will do a little bit more of an in-depth talk probably Wednesday as far as the draft goes. I'm going to be doing some rounds here and there with some of the other podcasts and YouTubers that are going to be having some shows. I'll be sliding back over to Dolphins Talk to see Fins Talk over there, Bobby Melendez and Hank that do Fins Talk. I don't know. Going to be all over the place. So, but I'll be doing some stuff, just a short show tonight. Sorry, guys. Make sure to hit the like button. I really just wanted to come in, clarify. I left you guys with a teaser yesterday with the Mike Gesicki trade and who was it and what I was hearing, and it's Green Bay. I hope this happens. If that does happen, it would rule, because that says to me we going and getting something. So, but all right, guys, make sure you're hitting the like button. Also, make sure you're checking out all the great content on the channel. Talk 7 TMI Tuesday tomorrow at 9. Color commentary with them on there. Right after that, open mic. Then you can catch Color on Thursdays. Me every other night of the week. And support the show through Fanatics and all the gear we got in the links in the descriptions. I appreciate everybody coming in. Please, guys, if you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, come over to the show on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Like the videos. Check out the content. We love feedback. Appreciate everybody. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Fins up, everyone.